Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about a little intro into astrology and talking about the elements and the modalities. So, getting into the elements, we have the fire and the water signs. The fire and the water is the feelers or the right brain signs of the zodiac. So, when it comes to them, they're going to be associated with the feelings, and you've got both sides. One's external and one's internal. So, water is more internal, it's internal feelers, so they hold their feelings, they sit in their feelings. Or the water element itself likes to sit into a space. It likes to hold shape once it gets into a space. As opposed to fire, fire's like quite fluid. It moves, it transforms. It changes, a lot. So water can change. That's where the fluidity quality comes in. But it's not like fire where it's quite fast with change. It transforms in an instant. Fire will transform a piece of paper into ash in an instant. So when it comes to water, that's the internal feeler. So if you're more water inclined, elemental wise in your astrology, then you'll be more having to sit in your feelings to analyze them and make sense out of your feelings, or sit in the way that something feels in order to actually see the clarity from the experience that you're going through. So you might need to actually go through that feeling and experience that feeling when you're a water sign, so you can actually gain clarity on whatever you're going through. And then when it comes to water, water holds memory. So this is why we can tend to remember things that we don't necessarily. Sorry. This is why we tend to remember things that we associate with an emotion, or the way, whether it's positive or negative. We tend to associate and remember things that we tie an emotion to. So if you remember something that you really, really, really love, it's because that emotion helps you to hold on to that. And this is where the water element plays it, how the water element plays out. It holds things. When it comes to the water and the fire signs, they're more inclined to act on something or react, because when you feel a certain way, you're more inclined to act on that feeling. Sometimes you might not even think, you just like feel, and then you might pull like a certain expression, or something like that. So this is how water, the feelers of the zodiac, will play out when it comes to those kind of things. So with the fire element is more associated. Sorry, actually, no. Water is connects things as well, because water, a big body of water will connect from the ocean to a lake, and so on and so forth. Or, a water will just connect. So water connects things. It'll help you to connect to someone. If you feel positively about someone, you'll feel more connected. You'll feel more close to them. So these are how the water element can play out when it comes to those kind of things. So also moving on to fire. Fire is like the external feelers. So when they're the external feelers, they're the more likely to express their emotions rather than to hold them in and analyze them. They're more likely to express their emotions. And that's not to say as well that water aren't the type to express their feelings. They will express, but they will tend to sit and analyze that emotion before they go out and express it. They're not just going to express it on a whim. They'll like to gain information. And this is where the internal is. They're gaining information, or analyzing the information that they've already gained before they actually go to express that. So fire will just express it on an instant, so they can tend to be impulsive in some ways and sometimes as well. And fire is transformative, so it'll transform a situation, it'll transform the way you see things. Fire will act on things quickly. It'll just, tend to be, sometimes fire signs can tend to be impulsive, as some would say, but really they're just good at acting and quickly acting on something. And when they do, it might play out more positively, especially if you're like a cardinal fire, like an Aries. Then impulsive energy can be used to a benefit for you, because you don't benefit as well compared to other signs like Earth and Air that would tend to benefit from thinking and planning or organizing something before they act on something. Like, I'm a Taurus, so I'm an Earth sign, so practicalizing and organizing something is a little bit more in my ball game, and that'll help me to actually get a step ahead in what I'm trying to do, as opposed to if I was just trying to apply a fire element to it and then not taking in that earth quality that I need, which is the planning and the practicality. So fire is creative as well. They like to express their creativity. They like to express the way they feel. They like to express their visions. So fire is also tied to visions. Visions is like the internal, where you're imagining something, right? But you're also external. You're looking at that imagination within your internal world. So this is how it's the external of the right brain. This is how we look at these things when it comes to looking at the esoteric spiritual way of seeing it. When we're moving on to the earth and the air, they're the left brain signs of the zodiac. So earth is the internal left brain, so they're more practical. They like to make sense out of what they're logically interpreting from the world. So they'll gain a piece of information and then they'll practicalize it, see if it makes sense to them or makes sense with the overall, way they see the world, or so on. And they'll be able to either regard or disregard that thing based on if it does make sense or if it doesn't make sense, or if they're able to practicalize it and make sense out of it or not. So that's how the earth element can play out. Also organizing, because organization is a form of making sense. Anything to do with structure is all tied to the earth element. So structuring and making sense out of things, like things that are part of the earth, they have a structure, they have a form to them, as opposed to fire. Fire doesn't really have like a form or a shape. It does, but it's more shapeless and formless when it comes to all the elements together as a whole. So yeah, when it comes to earth as well, it's fixating. It's like a fixated quality or a fixated energy, but that's getting more into the modalities. But yeah, earth is like that consistency, stability. Those are all the things that are associated with earth element, because those are all things that have form or structure to them. And this is like not just stability when it comes to the physical, but obviously mental stability. It applies to all these different things. When it comes to the air element is associated with travel, because air travels all around us. It can move. It's fluid like water and like fire, but it's not so tied down where it holds its shape into something. Air will just go around, it'll just blow, stuff like that. So air is related to communication, because communication is a form of traveling. Your words are traveling, the sound is traveling from one to another. Also ideas, thoughts, what you can logically interpret. So anything tied to the logic is like the air, and so air is like the external of the left brain. So when it comes to air, all the things that it does is going to be externalizing the left brain type of things, which is all logic, communication, those kind of things. You're externalizing these things, so you're being strategic about the way that you externalize and express your thoughts. You're being strategic about these things. That's how the air element can play out. So moving on to the modalities. With the modalities, we have cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Now, each element has their own sign that attributes to each modality. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius would be our fire signs. And Aries is cardinal, Leo is fixed, and then Sagittarius is mutable. So cardinal is initiating and creating new ways, and then when you add the element, that'll determine what you're initiating and creating new ways of. So if it's fire, Aries, it would be initiating and creating new ways of seeing and feeling about the world or something. So people who are Aries will be able to initiate and create new ways of seeing and feeling about things. So that's Aries, but if we were to switch it, let's say if we were to give it another element, then we would it would be initiating and creating new ways of, let's say, Earth, practicalizing and making sense out of something, or organizing something, or structuring something. So this would be Capricorn. Capricorn is initiating and creating new ways of practicalizing, making sense out of something, and organizing something. So this is why Capricorn is known as like a business sign, or like a leader kind of sign. So cardinal signs are more on the leader side. They would be considered like leaders because they're initiators. They initiate and create new ways of going about things. So this is like a leadership quality in itself. So cardinal, they're the initiators. And then when it comes to fixed, let's say if you're a fixed modality, let's say Leo's fixed fire. So you're fixating on your own way of seeing and feeling about something. So fixed signs can be tend to be considered as stubborn because of this quality that they have. Also, fixed is also related to consistency energy. So fixed signs are also consistent. They're able to keep at a goal, or they're able to maintain something that's already been created and uphold that. So where the cardinal would initiate it, the fixated sign would grab whatever's initiated and they would fixate it, they would build on it, they would help it to grow. So this is the fixated energy. And then when you change the element, fixed, like let's say water. So fixating on your own way of feeling about something, this would be fixed water. So fixed water is Scorpio. So Scorpios can be, like some people would say, Scorpios can be vengeful because they fixate on that emotion. You know what I mean? This is just one way that it can play out, but it can play out in lots of different ways when it comes to the modalities and the sign. So, or the modality and the element, I would say. So let's say fixed air, you're fixating on your own way of thinking and communicating. So air signs, a fixed air sign would be, they would have their own way of thinking and communicating, their own way of communicating. They would have their own way of going about these air element things that would help them to do it more better and more sufficiently for themselves. Or if they don't have their own way, then they'll be able to fixate on a way of doing it and help it to work for them, help to build on it, so that maybe add in, mix and match things that they think would fit for them, would fixate for them. So fixated quality is, fixating and building on that energy, fixating. So I just said fixating twice, but yeah. Mutable signs. Mutable is being mutable and adaptable. So when you're being mutable and adaptable, you're mutable and adaptable to your own as well as others. So this is an adaptable quality. So if you're mutable Earth, then you would be mutable and adaptable to your own and others' ways of practicalizing, making sense out of things, and organizing. So this would be Virgo. So Virgos are known to be good organizers. So because they're mutable, they can adapt and change the environment and organize the earth structure around them in order to be more sufficient for them, So Virgos can be good at planning, routine and structure. So because they're planning, this is the earth quality, making sense out of something. But then they're going and doing a lot of different things, they're organizing a lot of different things and seeing how they work together. So that's how the mutable quality will play out for the earth side. And then when we go into the, let's say, fire, mutable fire. So being mutable and adaptable to your own and others' ways of seeing and feeling about things. So if you're a Sagittarius, this is your modality and your element, then you would be immutable and adaptable to other people's ways of seeing and feeling about things. So you'd be able to relate to people when it comes to talking about their ways of seeing and feeling about things. you'll be able to also adapt and relate your own way to others, you know. So and this is what makes Sagittarius as well, you know. They can be good teachers because because they're able to grab multiple different things from that area, from that element, and then they're able to put it in a way where they're able to combine those things or change what doesn't work and then add what does. So this is the mutable quality playing out. They can either completely destroy a lot of what's already been, you know, fixated and initiated on, or they can just add on to what's already been fixated and initiated on. So this is the mutable quality playing out. It's that adaptability, you know. So that's how the mutable and the cardinal and the fixed would play out when it comes to the astrology, and mixing those with the elements as well. Once you get into that, you're able to develop a bit of a better template for yourself to be able to understand the modalities and the elements. So yeah. Oh no. So yeah, that's a intro to our elements and our modalities. I will get more into that once I start to make more videos, but just as a quick intro for astrology for anyone who would like to learn those things. So have a good day, night / time.